1970s were tough for Lebanon, right? Starting with 73 a little bit, 74 a little bit more, 75 big time, 76 horrible time. Okay? So we're in Lebanon, no ID cards, no legal papers. Travel in Lebanon was dangerous because every little bit there was another checkpoint. And checkpoints had people with machine guns and sandbags and barbed wire. And you'd hit Palestinian checkpoints, Syrian checkpoints, Lebanese army checkpoints, uh, 2, 3 Christian groups checkpoints, and 2, 3 Muslim checkpoints. So there's no escaping them. And of course, at every checkpoint, where's your ID card? And you show the ID card. And sometimes, if you're a Christian passing through a Muslim checkpoint, you're pulled aside, and the people are killed, or people are just beaten, whatever. And also the other way, if a person is Muslim and passes through a Christian checkpoint, and the ID card says Muslim, oh nope, you're out, either killed or beaten. So fortunately, by the grace of God, we had moved from West Beirut to East Beirut. We're about a mile down from the college. West Beirut was mostly Muslim, East Beirut was mostly Christian. And so we were able to go to college, walk up to college without crossing any checkpoints. Mom worked on the west side because she worked as a telephone operator at a hotel, the Phoenicia Hotel. You know, the old switchboard with pull the wire and plug it, and pull the wire and plug it. Yep. Young people don't know what that is. Okay. So Mom worked there, and we're going to college. Everything is fine. Well, as fine as it could be. Well, Mom, on a Friday, she had been at the hotel working there. She didn't come home because she had to cross the green line. Should be called the red line, but they called it the green line, between the west and the east side. And so there were snipers on both sides. Anyone crossing that green line, they would be shot. So Mom stayed at the hotel working all week. Friday came, said, no, I need to be home for Sabbath, and I need to be with my children. So she got in a taxi. The taxi dropped her off at the green line, just a little bit before the green line. Said, lady, I can't cross it. I will be shot. So you're okay here. You manage. So Mom is standing there on the side of the street, and she's praying, Lord, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? Car stops and says, lady, what are you doing here? Said, I'm going home. Where's home? East side. Said, I'm going to the east side. Hop in. And Mom said, oh, boy, do I hop in? I don't know this man. Is he going to kidnap me? Is he going to rape me? I don't know what to do. Lord, that's my only way. She jumped in the car. The man took back roads, went all the way around, avoiding all the bad spots, and she came home safely. That night, the hotel was bombed. And when I say bombed, I mean riddled with rockets, and the whole thing was set on fire, and the smoke settled down, and everybody at the switchboard suffocated to death. And again, we say, thank God for Mom's safety, but then we say, well, what about those who died? But we're thankful for Mom's safety. Anyway, so Mom doesn't have a job. I'm not going to finish in 3 minutes. Mom doesn't have a job. She's home. We're going to college. I can't work because I have no legal papers. I'm working at the college because they're kind enough to keep us hidden. But that's just literally peanuts. What do we do? So Mom said, well, you know how to cook. Son, what do we have in the house? So we looked, and we had some fava beans, and we had a little bit of parsley. A Lebanese house is never out of parsley, right, Salim? Tabbouleh and all the other stuff. Parsley is just, yeah. So Mom said, we have a little bit of parsley, a little bit of beans and garlic and onions, and Well, let's make falafels, and you go give the parent, give the neighbors samples, and we'll sell them falafels. Mom, I'm 21. I'm gonna go knock on doors. And my cousin, who's 9 years younger, said, "I'll go." Thank you. So my cousin and I went and knocked on doors and, "Hi, neighbor. Um, please have a couple falafels. Taste them if you like them. Mom will make some for you." Of course, everything was shut down, so they couldn't go to restaurants. They go, and so we said, but you need to pay us in advance because we have no money. So you pay us in advance, and we'll. And business started. We would wake up early, make the falafel mix, and fry them, and then take them to the neighbors. Then the neighbors, after a while, said, we have no jobs either, so money is very scarce. We can't buy from you anymore. Lord, how are we going to survive? By that time, the college had shut down because of the bombing. Don't know what to do. So the neighbors came to see Mom and said, in the apartment building, said, "Hey, you used to brag about making this mountain bread." She'd flip it on her hands like this, like the pizza guys, how they do. But this becomes literally this thin. Okay, and then you put it on a steel dome and fire underneath, and in about 5 seconds it's cooked and you're ready to go. So they said, "Will you bake us bread? The bakeries have shut down, and we don't have any bread, and Lebanese cannot live without bread." Mom said, "Well, I don't have that dome, Saj." They said, "Well, you know what? What if we find you one?" Mom said, "If you find me one, I'll do it." The next day they came with one. They went up to the mountain somehow and found one. So, and I need to quit that because I'm very careful to save the pastor's time. So we started. Should I? George, forgive me? Okay. So we started baking bread. We'd wake up very early in the morning, knead the dough, let it rest, knead it again, let it rest, balls, and then let it rest, and then pat it and go down. We made a little area there, and we had a friend living with us because his house was far away and he couldn't go because of the war. We'd go gather pine needles, and Mom would sit there and do her thing with the dough, and our flour ran out. We can't buy flour. So we go up to the college. The college had a bakery. Bakery shut down. There's no electricity. "Would you please sell us flour?" "No, we can't." "Why not?" "If word goes out that we have flour, the militia will come and by force take our flour away." "Please, please, no, no, no." "Oh, wait a minute. We still have international students here from Africa, from the US, from Europe, and we need to feed them. So here's the deal. We'll sell you flour if you come at night, no lights, and you bake us our bread first to feed the students." We'll do that, sure. That's more income. Good. So we'd go, my uncle's car, we'd go up in his car, he'd shut off the engine, turn off the lights, and we'd push the car to the storage area, open that corrugated steel door very quietly as we could, grab a couple of sacks, put them in my uncle's trunk, and kind of post down before starting the engine. And continued this way until the international students left, because there was a lull in the fight, and they went through a Christian small port area with a ferry, and they went to Cyprus to go to their own countries. So what do we do now? No money, no food, nothing. Mom is always praying. Shortly after the flour ran out, somebody came to our apartment and said, "Hey, they're giving ID cards to Christians to increase the number of Christians in Lebanon to balance the power." The war was mainly between Christians and Muslims, but it was factions and stuff. So okay, we'd go. Yay. Maybe if we got our ID cards, we can travel, we can leave. Because just a couple days before that, My father called the college and said that he had sent our immigration papers to Lebanon so we could immigrate to the US. But guess what? The American embassy was on the west side. So we couldn't go because we had no legal papers, so we couldn't cross those checkpoints. And mom called and said, no, they come, you can't. They have to get their own papers. So what do we do? I believe it was exactly the next day the American ambassador was shot. Either the next day or 2 days later. And they moved all the paperwork to Greece. So now how are we going to travel to Greece without legal papers, without passports, to get our papers to immigrate to the US? And I'm going to have to leave you here because I'm not going to take any more time. Maybe Liz will give me some other time to finish the story. But in all of it, God is always good. God is always good.